Okay, so today we will explain the second module. So we have two modules. The first one I explained before. It will be half a module according to the section drawing using paper, Fabriano paper, white and red. Today I will talk about the foam module. Okay, this module will be a full model. So the entire object you will make, okay? It will be scale 1:1, so the real size of the object, because your drawings are scale 1:2, okay? So it needs to be the real size, okay? Now, we will talk about three different stages, the materials needed. So I brought some of them to show you, because they are important, exactly what they look like. So the materials needed, how to build and how to color, okay? Each stage will have its explanation, and I will talk about the important parts that you need to be careful about. So, the materials for this module. Well, the main material is the foam. So the XPS polystyrene foam, they come in big sheets, okay, and in different thicknesses. Now, what you can find here is 5 centimeter and 2.5 centimeter, something like that. You need to buy the thicker one, okay? So the 5 centimeter is the one that we need. As I said, they come in big sheets. This one is cut already. It's blue in color. Sometimes you will find a green one, okay, that looks like this. So this is okay and this is okay. They are both very fine foams that can be used for modeling and create very nice results, okay? So this is the main material that you need for the model. So this one is what? The XPX polystyrene foam. Now, you need also, okay, we have several materials here. Now, this is here a hand saw, okay, a hand saw. Here in your materials, let me see if it's written, hand saw. You need to add this material, it's not written in the sheet, okay, hand saw. Now, this one specifically, there are many types, okay? You need to be very careful. There is here a number, and also I will describe to you what they look like so you can buy the correct one. There are many types of these hand saw. This is for the cutting, okay? You need to buy just like this. You don't need a handle, okay, for this. It's not dangerous. As you can see, I can put my finger here. It's not something that cuts very easily. Now, you need to buy, you see, this looks something like this, and it has these teeth, okay, these teeth. Now these need to be very, very fine, because some of them have teeth that have like a lot of spaces in between, so they are rough, okay, so they are rough, okay. We need the fine ones, the fine ones. It's very important, because if you buy the rough ones, when you cut, it will be so bad, the cutting, okay? It can cut faster, but in a bad quality. You need the fine hand saw. So this is very important. The next material that you need is, well, you need a brush, okay? But not like this type. I don't have the correct one. Now, there are many types of brushes. Some of them look like this. And some of them look like this, okay? So, this is the round brush. We don't need it. We need the flat one, okay? The flat brush. This brush will make you trouble. It is suitable for certain types of drawings, and you know, but for coloring our model, the flat one is more suitable. Now, how big? About from here to here, about 2 centimeters will be fine, okay? Don't buy the extremely big, the extremely big brushes, or the extremely small. So 2 centimeters is suitable for the size of our model, okay? And please, the hair type, buy a smooth one, because some of them are very rough. They are used for, let's say, oil painting or specific types of materials. We need the smooth one so that the result can be also smooth and beautiful, okay? So, this is the brush that you need. Of course, the set of rulers, your rulers, you will need them. What's funny? What is so funny? Okay, we need the set of rulers. Also a one that is a bit smaller, you know, like this, because we might need it. I will show you how to use it. And not a very long one, okay? For the model making. The tape, we need a tape. Any kind of tape will work, okay? I will show you also how to use it. What is here? We need these materials. So this is acrylic color. Now, you don't have to buy a big tube. There are smaller tubes, because it's one exercise. If you are not using acrylic, you don't need to buy big tubes. So a small tube, acrylic color, white and red. Because we have two colors, white, red, okay? So you need acrylic. Not any other. Please be careful, there's sometimes gouache. The gouache color is based on water, the acrylic on plastic. Now we are going to color the foam, okay? So you cannot use any material, the acrylic is suitable for the foam, okay? Wood glue, or in Arabic they call it gira, okay? It's white, it's called wood glue, but it can glue several materials, different types together. You cannot use Yuhu on this. Like the Yuhu glue, you cannot use it on this material. And you know, you need to be careful with the foams, especially the foam material. The type of glue used and also the type of color used is very important, because sometimes it can melt. Like for example, if you use the spray color, which have a specific type of material, this will start melting. So do not take shortcuts or decisions made by you and, for example, start spraying your model and destroying it, okay? So when I say acrylic, it's acrylic, okay? Not any spray paint, because this is foam, okay? So it can get damaged. You need the cutter, definitely. Sandpaper. This is called sandpapers. Now, they come in sheets, okay? They come in sheets, and they have at the back different numbers. So, the higher the number, the smoother the paper. Now, we need 3 types in general. There is a very rough one. Do you see this rough one? It's very rough. It's P60. Now, this, maybe you will need it, maybe you won't need it. It depends on how accurate your cutting is with the foam. But if I make a big mistake somewhere, I will need the rough paper, sandpaper, to sand my mistake off, okay? So, for to be on the safe side, buy it. You never know, you might need it. So, this is the P60. Then we have a medium sandpaper. Now, the color doesn't, it's not important, but the number, okay? So this is P150, okay? This is a medium. So it's not very rough, but it's not very smooth. And then we have smooth papers. Now this is the P400. It's getting kind of smooth, very smooth, okay? And then we have P600. This is even smoother. This is more smooth, okay? So just make sure you have these sandpapers. Now, how much do you need? One sheet could be enough, actually. One sheet of each, okay? If you want, buy 2 sheets of each, just in case. So the sandpaper is for sanding, okay? And I will show you how to use it in a minute. This paper, this is the carbon paper, you will not need. In previous semester we used to use it, but it's useful when the drawing is scale 1:1. Then you can take the different views, copy it on the foam with the sandpaper. But since your drawing is 1:2 scale, it's smaller, you cannot copy it. Also, we don't need to copy anything because the object is made out of very simple shapes, rectangular shapes, cubes. So it's very easy to actually draw it immediately on the foam and cut it. So you don't need, this semester, you don't need this carbon paper. Also, this one we don't need it. Let me see if there is anything else. Of course, the cutting board. If you come, because we will have classes after Eid, we will have classes where you actually build the model, continue building the model in class. So please, if you're cutting, you need to have a board like this with you. Nobody allowed to cut on the tables. Okay, now, how to start building the model, okay? Let me see here. Let me remove these materials. Okay. Now, you will start with a sheet, of course, a rectangular big sheet like this. You will try to find an edge. Okay, you will start from the edge, which is perfect as possible. And you will take a ruler and you will draw, like for example, we have shapes. So what shapes do we have, for example? So we have, for example, this shape. This shape has what? A height, a length, and a width, okay? You need to draw it on the sheet. So, for example, measure. Okay, this is 5 centimeter, okay? So, be careful which side you will put here. So you will measure from here to here how much, from here to here, from here to here, and you will end up with, for example, accurately drawn, of course, and also from the side. So, for example, this line comes from here. You need to draw it here also, not freehand, with a ruler, okay? And you need to draw it from the back. So, from all the sides, you will draw this object according height, length, width. Now, these details later. We first cut always, whatever you're building, you cut always the rectangular shape first. Even when the students in previous semester built the mouse, okay, they had a project to make a mouse, and as you can see, there are a lot of curves, a lot of details. They started with a rectangular object, okay? So whatever you build, you start with this first. And then, okay, now, okay, let me show you how to cut, because this is important. So when you draw this object on the sheet, on the form, you will need to cut it. Now, cutting with this, let me see if it's recording, actually, if it's visible. A little bit. Okay. So, for example, if I want to cut something, okay? Of course, it will be a bigger sheet in your case. Hold it in your hand. There is no danger, as I said, with the knife. It's not sharp. And now you might ask yourself, why not buy this with the handles? It's much easier, but in fact it's not. You cannot control it as well as this. And those with the handles, sometimes they're very heavy. At least the designs that I see are not really helping you to cut correct. This is the best one, okay? Now, you will hold it, and you will start cutting very carefully, according the line. Now, you will cut on top of the line. That's what you believe that you should do. But in fact, no. Now, if you have a line here, these details are important. So if there is a line here, for example, okay? And I want to cut now. I will not cut on top of the line. I will leave extra 1 or 2 millimeter. Why? Because during the cutting process, this knife will, 1 millimeter will disappear. Secondly, if you make a very, very small mistake, like you will have a line here, a line here, a line here, a line here, and you're cutting. But even the smallest shift, already 1 other millimeter is gone. So we need extra 2 millimeters for safety, so that when we cut, the object will be slightly bigger. But later, when we take the sandpapers, we will sand it into a perfect shape. Now, even if you cut perfectly and it's perfectly straight everywhere, still 1 millimeter will be taken. And still you need to sand even if it's a little bit. So there is a danger that your object will become a little small. So leave 2 millimeters from each side and then cut. Now the cutting, you need to hold very strong, okay? Hold it strongly. Don't, and start very slow. Start very slow. Don't, if you want to cut fast, you will get a bad result. Now, the speed, look, I'm cutting with the same speed, and you need to look at the lines, like, am I cutting according to the line? Am I cutting according to the line? Always check, okay? And continue. Again, you need to check. The same speed, so not fast, slow, okay? The same speed, slowly. It cuts, okay? It cuts very easily. But if you cut very fast, you might make a mistake cutting at an angle or, not accurate. Now, even the most accurate cut will need sanding, okay? So we need to smoothen the object. So let's say this object is like almost perfect. Now, I need to perfect it even more. How perfect it even more? Using the sandpaper. Now, if I have somewhere a very big mistake, and I need to sand like a few millimeters off, we will use the hard sand, the rough sandpaper. Now, please never start like this, because this way your hand is not straight. So you will sand from certain areas more and certain areas will not be sanded. You need to put this sandpaper on a straight surface, like the table. Take this, put it here, and in circles. Now I will use this paper, okay? It's more straight, so straighten it, even if you have put tape here so it doesn't move, and then in circles. Not like this. Because like this, again, you might press here more or press here more, and then it will not be everywhere evenly sanded. It must be evenly sanded. So, in circles. And then change it. Because maybe you're pressing somewhere more than in other places. So you need to keep changing while you're sanding. And check, okay, is this the quality you want? This is the half rough sandpaper, not the full. As I said, which one you use depends on how much the mistake is. The final one you will use, if everything is perfect, the smooth sandpaper, just to make it as smooth as possible. Okay? Now, as you can see with the sanding, you will take off a bit of the material, so you need to have extra. Not to create one object small, one big, because the quality, as I said in this model, must be 100%, because it's a very easy object overall. Okay? So I will look at the quality of your objects. Now, let's say that this is now perfect, okay, as a cuboid object, and we now need to cut these details. How to cut? You need again to draw. Okay, take a ruler. So how much is it from here to here? For example, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter. So from here you will measure 1 centimeter, and from here 1 centimeter, and you will draw the line with a pencil, okay, on the material. And now, from here, you need to draw these objects, all of them, okay? Make sure everything is correct before you cut. Now, cutting of small details, please, you don't need to do it with this. If you want to be more clean, you can use this for the small details, okay? This is for the big objects, cutting, okay? Once you have the shape, and there is something small I want to cut, you can use this. Don't use this for the big objects. And please, this knife, be careful, don't stretch it like this. It can break, it becomes unstable, okay? Put it out just how much you need it for the thickness you're cutting, and very, very careful, okay? Very careful, what are you doing? You should look at the lines. Are you cutting according to the line or not, okay? And very, very slow. Now, we can put it a little bit more out, okay, but very careful. Now, this knife cuts like 100% smooth, okay? While cutting with this one, you need sanding. Now, after cutting, if you see, oh, okay, I put here 1 millimeter mistake, I need to sand it, well, you need to take the paper and again, put it on a flat surface and sand. Now, this one, we can sand in this way because it depends on the shape that you're sanding. And you need to look, okay? Am I sanding correct or not, okay? Until you reach the line where you made a mistake, okay, to fix it. And so on. Now, another thing that you can do is take a ruler, cut on it. Look, these tips are not only for this particular exercise. In the future, if you use the foam, you can still use these tips, okay, and advices. So, sometimes I have something very small I want to sand, and I want to see it in front of me. I don't want to put it on a flat surface and sand, okay? You can take a ruler, put this around, okay, and tape it. Okay, now, of course, when you do it, you'll do it a better quality. So tape it just to be, strong. Now, this surface will be flat. Okay, so now, for example, if I want to sand something small here, for example, this object, here I have a small mistake, I want to fix it. So you can take this in your hand, but you know that the surface is flat. Okay? Not your finger. Your finger has a round surface. So if you put this on the finger and you start sanding, it will not be flat. Okay? So you need, now this can be, sometimes you need a bigger sandpaper, a smaller one, depends on your need. And you can sand like this. Okay? Great. Sometimes when you have a round surface, you can take, for example, a pencil. You can take a pencil and put the sandpaper around it, different sizes pens, okay? And then you can take this and sand also rounding surfaces, round surfaces, okay? So it depends on what you are doing. Underneath. Also these things, let me just, since I have it, to explain to you. In the drawing, you had an object that came on top of the object in the middle, and it looked in this way, something in this fashion. It had this here, and this here, and this here, and this here. So it had these lines on the drawing. Now these lines are not just lines. They need to be made from the material, so they are engraved inside. This line, this line, this line, and from the back. So, again, you can take this method and, for example, draw the lines where they are located and then sand them, okay, with a longer paper. Or you can just take this, fold it in half nicely, okay, and you can use it, okay? There is the line, okay? It will make the line very clean, and this is maybe 0.5 millimeter thickness it will make, okay? So that's excellent for to do this part. Okay? Now, so this is the part about generally how to build. Now, each part, your model will consist of many parts. Excuse me at the back. Hello? I'm explaining here. If you already know what to do, you can leave. I don't need you here. So, your model will have what? Many parts. Each part you need to make separately, okay? Separately. So each part will be made separately out of this foam, and then you need to check. For example, you need to put one part next to another, check if one part is smaller than the other when they should be the same size. Fix the quality 100%. Smooth them out with the smooth sandpaper to be as smooth as possible, and clean. Blow on them. Clean the surface, and then we will move to the coloring stage. Now, you will color each part separately. Some of them will be white, some of them will be red, okay? So you use the acrylic color depending on what color the part is. You will color each separately. How? As I said, it needs to be smooth and clean before you start with your brush. Please do not mix too much water. It's like this color, you can use it straight away as it is, just mix it first, okay? Or put very, very small amount of water, like drop, okay? If it's very heavy, if you see it is very heavy. After that, you will take and you will color the surface, all of it. The first coloring will be extremely bad looking, okay? Now the material, even if you smooth it out, it's still a little rough. So the first color actually will look even more bad than this. So rough, okay? Some areas might be a bit blue, some areas more white. That's normal, okay? Leave it to dry. Do not put too much color at the first time. Just color it. Even if it looks bad, leave it. Leave it to dry fully. After it dries fully, you will take what? The very, very smooth sandpaper, like the P600, okay? And you will take a piece in your hand, and you will what? Just don't press, just a little bit, smooth it out, okay? Then you will color a second time. Number 2, color, okay? Again, leave it to dry fully. Again, sand using the smooth sandpaper. Then color a third time. Each time you have to wait till it dries. Color, okay? 3 times minimum. 3 times minimum. 3 times coloring, 3 times sanding. And then, if you see that by the end of the third time the model looks very good, okay, stop. If it doesn't, color it a 4th time. And the last coloring stage, please, you need to use the very smooth sandpaper, and you actually need water, a little bit of water, okay? So you need to have a cup with water, and you will put this inside, okay, the water, and you will just, not pressing, just go over it like this. Look, I'm not even pressing on it. Just like this, okay? This is to make it smooth and as shiny as possible, okay? Now, Again, look at it. Does it have any defects somewhere? If it has, again color, again, sand. So, the water sanding should be the final thing you do. And then you leave it to dry. If you want to do a terrible job, very bad quality, like some students do, they color just one time in 5 minutes and submit it to me wet, even. If you want to fail, you can do that, okay? But this model needs time. Only 3 or 4 times coloring and drying, this will take you a day or more, okay? Because you need to wait till it dries. And you have all the pieces, okay? You will have a surface where you put them to dry without coming close to any dust. When it's wet, it's very easy to come something on it and attach itself. It will destroy. Then you have to sand again and color again and so on. So, now, next thing, once everything, all the pieces, all the parts are colored, dried, sanded, perfect, okay, with the white and the red acrylic color, the next stage is to glue. Glue the model together. Now, be careful when you glue one part to another part, okay? For example, I have this part, I need to glue this part, for example, somewhere here in the middle. Very carefully locate the center point, the points that you need to put, because some parts are very small, and if you glue them in the wrong place, it will look awful, okay, bad. So just locate them very carefully. Now, how to glue? Because this will be all, for example, colored, very smooth, I hope. So, gluing with this wood glue or Gira, okay? This glue, for it to work, it needs to be a little rough. So, if you have very shiny surface, and this is very shiny, and you want to glue them together, it will not work well. Okay, so, the surfaces that need to be glued, very carefully, you will take the sandpaper again, and you will roughen them up. So, of course, it will destroy the color. That's fine, okay? Just roughen them up a little. So this surface with, for example, this surface here, or this surface. Roughen them up, and then put the glue on it, and put them together. Please understand that this glue needs time, like 1 day to dry. So, in the beginning, press, okay? And then carefully leave it somewhere to dry, okay? So it needs time. And again, if you don't roughen the surfaces, and if they're very shiny and smooth, the piece might, for example, start slipping down, okay? So it needs to stay stable, and the rough material also will help the glue to get sucked up inside. It's not really sucking up, but in between the spaces, and glue better. Okay? So if it's very smooth, that will not happen. So when you press the material on and the two pieces together, the material will come out from here, and there is nothing left here because it's so smooth. But when it's rough, okay, the material will go in between the rough surfaces. So you have a surface that is a little bit rough here. Here it's smooth, 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 and here, again, a rough surface, okay? And here is the glue, okay? So when you put them together, the glue will go in between these areas and hold. So, and as I said, it needs time. In the first, like, hour, 2 hours, keep checking on it. If you see something sliding or, moving, fix it before it dries completely, okay? Okay. Then, basically, after this stage, everything is complete for submission, okay? It needs to be dried fully when you transport it, because it has a lot of pieces. Be careful not how you transport it. Try to put it in a box or find a way, because if someone hits it or touches it in the wrong way, it will get destroyed, and we don't want this to happen on the submission day. Okay? So next class what? what will happen when we get back after eat? It will be model building in class. So I expect that you start at home and continue working in class. Okay? So you have all these materials already. Maybe you cut some of the shapes. Maybe you will continue cutting or sanding or whatever stage you are on in class. Now, at this stage, the drawings must be completed. If you are still working on some drawings, make sure you finish it as fast as possible. Because now you have to start building your paper model, the half model, and then this model. Check the deadlines on e-learning, okay, when it needs to be submitted. So, any questions about what we explained here? Yes.
Can you write the name of the cutter on the board?
Of the what?
The cutter that you use.
The cutter, this one?
No, the other one.
This one?
Yeah.
Well, there is not a specific name. See, when you go and buy this, there are different brands. But you can look at this number here. There is a number that shows the information about this knife. So if it looks a little different and it is the smooth knife, it's okay. You can even come and touch it and look at it, just so when you go and buy, you know, by the feel, by the look of it, if it's correct or not. So all these materials, you can come and check them. And please, you can take a picture if you want of this number also. One last thing that I wanted to show you here. Where is the other mouse? Okay. Now there are two mouses here. This is three actually, from previous semesters. And one of them was submitted to me like this, which is very rough, maybe colored one time. You can see even the blue behind it showing. It's not sanded. Okay, so a lot of stages missing. And then you can see, for example, this, which is a much better quality. It's very smooth, colored several times, okay? This one also. And if you water sand, you can even create a shiny surface, okay? So, they're not excellent, but they are very good examples, these. This is a bad one here, okay? So, this is it for today.